Hi guys, this is Claire in the Amazon, in my crazy house with the palm leaves. This is another one of those little videos of remembering Meher Baba. Here he is, my master. Another friend had a really difficult time, and it was so difficult for her that she decided that she would have to leave Baba. And she's looking against a very difficult situation there. She has to do something that she finds very scary. And I want to dedicate this to her. There's a couple of stories and there is a little song. So here we go. A similar story Mani would often recount was about Baba's dog, Peter. One day Mani was called into Mandali Hall by Baba. He was sitting on his usual chair and the men Mandali were sitting on the floor around him. Baba gestured towards his feet and Mani, which is Baba's sister, Mani's noticed that Peter the dog had crawled over towards Baba and was now sleeping there at Baba's feet. Thinking that Baba wanted her to remove Peter, she started forward. But Baba gestured to her to look at Peter and she noticed that the dog's legs were moving in his sleep. He was whining as well, and Baba gestured. He is dreaming, because Baba wasn't speaking, so he just made gestures. He said, the dog is dreaming. He's having a bad dream, and he's very afraid. He's dreaming that he's being attacked by big dogs, and he's very scared. He does not know that he is safe and sleeping at my feet. Mani would then add, that is how we are all. Just like Peter, we are sleeping safely at his feet. But we forget this. Like Peter the dog, we are so absorbed in our illusory dream that we take the illusory suffering to be real, and we feel the pain. Only on awakening do we experience the reality that we were always safe with him. It helps to remember during our moments of suffering that we are only dreaming. He is always with us. Don't let the dream overwhelm you. Remember him all the time. Call out to him. Talk to him, repeat his name. This weakens the effect of the dream. Have you ever had a dream where you are aware that's a dream? It's like this, that. When you remember him constantly, you become aware of the dream and it does not overwhelm you. That's from that same little precious book, The Real Treasure, of Rustom Falahati. Now go to another story that is related. Crisis is opportunity. These stories help me. So Meher Baba is not there anymore in the physical body, but his disciples are still there and he's visiting them regularly. And Mani is Meher Baba's sister. She was a lot younger than Meher Baba, about 20 years, I think. And she was often giving really wonderful talks about Meher Baba. So she's talking here. And Rustom is writing it down and he says, these stories help me. Not just because of the suffering that I felt that I was going through, because I was trying to work for the trust, but also because my own health, which had been problematic before coming to live as a resident, continued to be very haphazard. But none of them was as immediately helpful as a very quick interaction I had with Mani, Baba's sister, one day. One day when I was unable to shake off the gloomy clouds darkening my emotional landscape, I happened to run into Mani at the trust office. I don't know if I was looking as depressed as I felt, or if Mani somehow intuited my inner state, for she came over to me and asked, "Son, is everything all right?" Somewhat absently I said, yes, I'm fine." But Mani persisted, "Is your health okay?" "Yes," I said, hoping she would leave me alone. "I'm okay." "People are troubling you, isn't it?" she declared. I didn't say anything, but she must have known she had diagnosed my problem correctly, for she went on. "You know, Chinese is a language in which crisis and opportunity have the same meaning. So when you are experiencing a crisis in your life, remember that Baba is giving you an opportunity to grow, to learn from the crisis. And see how compassionate beloved Baba is. If we waste the opportunity by not learning the lesson, by not growing from it, then, in his compassion, he sends us another opportunity. Another crisis will come into our lives, a new opportunity. By the time she finished, I was in tears. Mani came up to me and gave me a warm embrace. Even today, whenever a crisis appears in my life, I remember her story and her warm embrace. And here is another one that's relating to it. Divine drowning. On days when pilgrims visited Meherazad, Erich, Meher Baba's first disciple, would spend most of the morning sitting in Mandali Hall, sharing stories of his life with Meher Baba. After lunch, the pilgrims would leave, and Erich would go into his room, take off his pants, and emerge wearing just his short pajama and t-shirt, or quite often just his pajama. One afternoon, Craig and I were sitting with Erich. Craig was a long-time resident who had been working very closely with Erich for years in the trust office. This afternoon, Craig said, "Erich, in front of the pilgrims you tell stories of how Baba lets the water rise to your nose, but never lets you sink. You tell stories where Baba pushes someone to the limits, but never beyond it. In short, you tell only the good stories. We are made to believe from these stories that it all ends well. But what about the stories where it does not end well? Where Baba did allow people to sink, where he did push them beyond the limits and they broke down? I feel frightened when I hear about what happened to Narina and Donkin. They were stalwarts, and yet Baba pushed them beyond the breaking point. Erich, can you please explain what happened and why it happened? These things are not supposed to happen to those close ones around Baba." Craig said, "Erich, if you find that topic..." Erich sighed and said, "I do not understand the question. What exactly do you want to know?" Craig said, "Erich, if you find a topic too controversial and you don't want to talk about it, that's okay, I won't ask." Erich seemed annoyed as he repeated his questions a second time. "What is it that you want to know?" Why did Baba allow Donkin and Norina to have a mental breakdown? Baba could have spared them. Erich said matter-of-factly, "So what is there to it if they broke down mentally? We make such a big issue about mental suffering and mental breakdowns. Why do we not give the same importance to physical suffering or physical breakdowns?" Pendu, after the car accident, was crippled. He suffered too, yet the breakdown of the physical body is not given importance as compared to a mental breakdown. Why do we forget that it is all a dream? All suffering, physical or mental, serves only one purpose. It helps the individual soul to wipe out his sanskaras and progress towards the goal of liberation or God realization. Baba, as a rule, does not take away your sanskaras or your suffering, but he helps you to go through it. Suffering comes as a wake-up call to awaken you from the dream. As my work at the Trust consisted of interacting with government officials for permission regarding various trust activities, I was directly under Bauji's guidance because he was the chief functionary of the Trust and subsequently became its chairman. One day, as I was sitting in his office, he was referring to the hard times that lots of Baba lovers were going through. He commented, "Baba is testing all his lovers. He pushes everyone to the limits. He will let you sink till the water reaches your nose, but he will never let you drown." I took this opportunity to ask Bauji the same question that Craig had asked Erich, as I was curious to see what his reply would be. Not only did I want to see how his answer would compare to Erich's, but I was also interested in the question in its own right, because I often felt that Baba was definitely letting the waters rise over my head at times. "Bauji," I said, "we know that both Donkin and Norina had mental breakdowns when they were still with Baba. Baba did allow the water to rise above their noses and allowed them to drown, didn't he?" "No, it was a different kind of drowning for them," Bauji replied. "It was a drowning in the ocean of bliss. Baba had taken the responsibility of wiping out the sanskaras through intense suffering of those who were his. The intense suffering they experienced was Baba's compassion. It was the final drowning in his ocean of love." As Baba said, true love is not for the faint and weak-hearted. And here is a little song that Francis Brabazon made. "Obey me and ask me for nothing. To ask is to make me your plaything. Be brave and accept yourself as but one drop of my ocean Sprayfling. Stop craving now for so and so thing. Just leave it to me and all day sing my name, and with brave heart accept your drop-ness in my ocean Sprayfling. Mark how the great stars at night slow swing on their way up to man, thus obeying your words, so that they too one day become the ocean and its Sprayfling. La 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 la. Ooh. I speak my fair words for your knowing. Drop lover of mine, I the way sing, so that you yourself one day will become the ocean and its Sprayfling. Obey me and ask me for nothing. To ask is to make me your plaything. Be brave and accept yourself as but one drop of my ocean Sprayfling. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Now just a little note on this at the end, because it always really, sometimes we don't know what to do and we ask God and we ask and we ask and we pray and we pray. And he says, obey me and ask me for nothing. But to me that's not quite possible, so I do ask him for something because I want to remember him with everything. But it says to ask is to make me your plaything. And that means that we are like children that just if we don't get what we want, we have a tantrum and we say, now I don't believe in you anymore, now you're not good enough for me anymore, you're not giving me what I want. And that's what he's talking about here. He says, be brave and accept yourself as but one drop of my ocean Sprayfling. In the end, we are not so very important. We are just a drop in the great ocean. We come and we go. We get born and we die. And in one way or another, we continue in Baba and we continue as great spirits. But still, we are not more important than another, and Baba is not obliged to do just what we want. That's not what it's all about. So with that, I'll leave you for today. God bless and Godspeed, and I hope you find the courage to do what you know is what you need to do.